Hi there, it's me, Kiva Johnson. Yes, that Kiva Johnson, the one that wrote the book The Protectors, Book 1, Child of Prophecy. All right, so today we are starting a brand new month. It is day one in October 2015. Yay, October, one of my favorite months of the year. Ha ha. All right, so now we get to totally do the whole protector thing, right? Right. Okay, so this time we're going to be going down a different path, and we're not choosing a protector or a Econin, but we're talking about a human. And we're going to be talking about humans all month of October. Today, we'll be talking about my fave human, William Grace. And then, of course, during Human Month, of course, I picked my favorite human in the story, and that's William Graves. Huh? I think he's a favorite of lots of you out there. He's definitely mine. Okay, so the humans and the role they play in the final battle with the protectors. Okay, first of all, there's three types of beings. There's the human, the protectors, and the wraith. Okay, now if you're caught up on your prophecy, which I'm not going to go through reading the prophecy again, because I've done that in other videos. I think I've read the prophecy like twice in other videos. Um, but the humans play a role, the protectors play a role, and then of course the wraith play a role in the prophecy. The prophecy isn't just about the children. It exposes the role that all these different beings share in prophecy. All right, so our human for today is William Graves. So I kind of wrote down a couple of questions to give us a starting point on what we were talking about with William Graves. William Graves. Okay, how did I get the name William Graves? These are questions, I know a lot of times I'll answer questions that you guys might have emailed me or had commented below, and I use that as my focal point for my next video. This time I did this series with William Gray, or this particular video with William Graves, not without any questions from my YouTube viewers or my Facebook people or anybody on Twitter. These are my questions that I wrote down that I wanted to highlight and talk about. So obviously, if you have any questions about William Graves, then just let me know. I'll go ahead and put it in a different video. But for now, these are my questions. Thought just to give you a background on who he is and how he became such a big role in the story and the significance of having these human people in our story. All right, so William Graves. How did he get the name William Graves? Okay, so originally, and I'm not sure if I ever said this in a video before. Originally, his name was going to be Jackson Green. I came up with the name Jackson Green because I kind of wanted him to be kind of have a strong first name. And Green, I just came up with because I was doing the story with my dad, and his personality reminds me a lot of Jackson Green. My dad's eyes are a greenish gray color, so I decided to name him Jackson Green. And that's how the name came about. However, after my dad passed away, and I had decided to change the names of several of the other characters in the book to people I knew rather than biblical names and presidential names, because I was using a lot of presidential names, and I thought it got a little obnoxious after a while to have so many like Jackson, Andrew. I was like, come on now. And so I just decided to go ahead and make names after people I've met, names that I just start finding interesting, people in my family, or anyone I came about, anyone that I ran into that I liked their name. I would recycle it into my stories, and that's how it came about. I came up with William Grace. My dad's first name is William. And as he got older, well, his eyes are like a green gray kind of color, but I noticed that as he aged, they were more gray than green. That's how it appeared to me. Anyway, that's how I seen him. I noticed that the grayer his hair on his head got, the grayer his eyes seemed to me. Um, and I don't know. That's how I saw my dad. So I changed the last name from being green like his eyes to by the time he passed away, his eyes were near full to gray. Um, and that's how William Grace became William Grace. And I kind of did the S at the end as a play on word, like he's graying, like he grays over time. It was amusing to me at the time, so I did it. Um, and that's how William got his name. Yay! Um, what role do William play in the Protectors? Okay, so William is the adopted son of James and the adopted or stepbrother or something like that to June. Um, there is a big age gap, okay, between June and William, which I'm sure you guys noticed, so that they really didn't grow up in the same household. So I don't know if you've ever had an older sibling that's like in high school when you're born or something like that, or there's like this tremendous age gap to where you're not really being raised together, but you're still a family, and that's the dynamics between um, June and William. Okay? So just so that we got that background. He's older than her. They didn't grow up in the same household. They never lived in a house together except for when he was in college and would come back on breaks. Okay? So that's the background of that. Okay? Um, the dynamic thing about William in the Protectors. William plays a tremendous role, which if you've already read book one, I hate to give anything away for those of you who have not read book one, but William is the first human protector. He's the first one that gets kind of thrown into the final battle um, because he's raised by a protector. Okay? He gets thrown into it. Well, I'm not going to say how he ended up with James Frederick, only because I think that is a big spoiler, and I really don't want to do that and ruin parts of the book that are very interesting to me for you. So let's just read a little bit about William coming into the story for the first time. He comes into the story right after June and Sydney are at June's apartment, and Sydney has just told June everything that happened that day, and she's sitting up there going, what the hey? This is William coming into the scene. Knock, knock. It's an actual knock. It's not the words knock, knock. It's like knock, knock. June and Sydney exchanged looks. June was ready to get back in touch with the world, but was she ready for the world to come over and get in touch with her? She put her hands to her lips to silence Sydney. Then she signaled for Sydney to pack up the backpack. When she seen the backpack was all packed, she answered, "Who is it?" asked June. "June, it's William. Open up quick like," said the voice behind the door. It was not the response June was expecting. She signaled for Sydney to relax. William smiled, but June was surprised to see him. "Sydney, hopped up on the bar and started to walk back and forth on the 8-foot long wood plank. Then she started to play with the yo ball. It makes a great toy when it's not active. She stared at him deeply, focusing on his eyes the way two animals do when they circle each other. Nice yo blade, said William. Then he showed the palm of his hand, revealing the catch glove. Sydney took it as a challenge and started doing all her best moves with hers. He watched for a while, then he signed, "May I join?" to June, and she smiled at him, giving him the okay. He took out his yo blade and started to do his tricks. He was good and fast. His ball was inactive, but June could see he was good. I'm William, and you are Miss Sydney, daughter of Veronica and Zane. All this was said while the yo blade was in motion. Uncle sent me to keep an eye on things, make sure you ladies were okay, although I think you can show me a thing or three. Then June asked, why exactly did Uncle send you, William? Doesn't he trust me to handle this? I don't always need you to come in as my knight, said June. Don't be like that, June. It's not a matter of trust. He knows you're fully capable of taking care of Sydney. We all do. I'm just here as your assistant. I'm not a protector, just a lowly human, here to do the grudge work. Then he twisted his wrist to make a small circle and started doing tricks with his yo ball again. Then William began to talk again. He saved my life when our parents became TV dinners for the Wraith. Our parents tried to give us to the Wraith in exchange for riches and fame. My dad wanted to be a rock star. By then, my parents had stopped being our parents and lacked most of their old selves. The protectors, James, Uncle, and his squad saved us. Our parents died soon after, and we went to live with an aunt of my mother's. But through the years, your uncles kept in touch with me, even putting me through college. He was my mentor, teaching me everything I needed to know to be a success in this world, including fighting. He talked about you, Sydney, and you every bit as lovely as he said. I've met your parents, charming folks, and your godparents as well. I'm likely one of the few humans you will meet fighting with the protectors to keep Earth from being overrun by the Wraith, which is ironic since the war is taking place on Earth, said William. Not to mention you, William, said Sydney. No one mentioned, oh, I said not to mention. It's no one mentioned you, William, said Sydney. I'm not surprised, really. I'm not that exciting, said William, batting his eyes at her as innocently as he could manage. It made her laugh. If this supposed to endear her to him, it was working. Some protectors looked at humans as lesser beings, but June had always known that humans were as an important race. After all, they were the final battle before Ihane. June had taught these things to Sydney before she knew she was Sydney's teacher. I know no one never mentioned me, love, but here I am, ready to help. I've been here all day, and frankly, it's boring, said William, stretching and covering a yawn. You've been here all day? Asked June in surprise. You got it, beautiful. Uncle wanted to ensure the safety of Alpha Squad and the two children, one Sydney and a Kevin Jr. I was the first to arrive. I got here right before Sydney. We've been watching for Uncle there, our eyes and ears all over the building, precious. You have a key, Billy boy. Why didn't you just come in when you first got here instead of hiding in the bushes spying on us? You know I hate it when you call me Billy boy, said William. Yes, I know, just like I hate when you call me precious, said June. Okay, sis, it's fair, just June from here on. June smiled. Deal, said June. James would do anything to protect you, gorgeous. If you call me anything but June from here on out, you'll find yourself tied up with your yo blade string. I was talking to the pretty one, said June. Said William, using his thumb to point to Sydney. I don't know what her problem is. Human females find me very charming, said William to Sydney, who giggled. I doubt it, William, said June. You're so not charming, said June. Then she looked over at Sydney, and it was obvious that she thought he was charming. She smiled and even clapped as he did his yo blade tricks. What made you come in and introduce yourself, William? Asked June. I heard you said you were ready to join the real world. Your uncle is at headquarters, taking care of matters there. All right. So that's our introduction to William Graves. First on the scene, we see two of our favorite characters, June and Sydney. Now, I wanted William to be introduced onto the scene by Sydney. And the purpose for that is that as the female child of the prophecy, it would be her who would decide when to reveal herself, which I thought was very similar to the protectors revealing themselves to mankind. So I thought that was pretty significant. One thing is that you'll notice at the end of book one how it really, really, really pulls William totally into the battle as he gets adopted by Hannah the King. And it just goes on from there. But he's our most significant human and the first one to join the final battle. It's a lot of stuff you like about William. He is extremely charming and funny and charismatic, easygoing with people. But he is. My fan sounded like it was making a weird noise just now, but I guess I was imagining. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. As far as William goes, if you have any questions, we will be talking about humans for the rest of the month, which means we'll get a chance to talk a little bit with Javier. Some people might really like Javier, and he does show up in the other books as well. So that's good for you to know that Javier is just not a passing character. He actually plays a bigger role as we go further into it and once Sydney reveal herself to others. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it, as I do all my videos. I hope that you subscribe on my YouTube channel so that you can watch all of my videos where I talk about science fiction and the protectors. Also, if you would go to my Facebook page, Akiva Johnson, on my Twitter, Akiva Johnson. So I'm on Facebook at Akiva Johnson. I'm on Twitter at Akiva Johnson. And I'm here on YouTube at Akiva Johnson. So, hey, subscribe, like, and follow. Thanks a lot. Take care.